Hi, I'm Jenny from The Plot, and this is my allotment. Welcome to my lady garden.
Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. I'm down to
I've just spent 5 million years watering everything at The Plot because we still haven't had any rain. We're supposed to get a little bit tomorrow, but it looks like it's only going to be a dribble for about half an hour. I mean, what good is that to man or beast? Anyway, I thought I'd start off with the dramatic news of the day. I am wondering whether I have created a monster with these bird feeders, because I filled them up on Sunday and it's now Tuesday and they're both completely empty. And not only that, but the birds have ripped out the spoon and chucked it on the floor. And by the other bird feeder, I used to have one strawberry plant, just one, that I had planted from a runner from my strawberry patch at home. And even though I'd trodden on it a couple of times, it was still alive and it had flowers. I mean, it was small, but it had berries on it, like they were green, but it was going and it was going to be all right. Well, it's vanished. And I think it's because the birds are so hyped up on the mealworms that when I haven't instantly refilled the feeders, they've kind of gone into a sort of revenge rage, some sort of frenzy that just terrifies me to think about. So I don't know, what should I do? Should I be scared? In other news, I am getting these scapes, I think they're called, on my elephant garlic. There's one there, there's one down there, and there's one the other side actually sticking up through the net. I know that's not a good thing. Advice, please. Okay, we've come into the greenhouse for some flying or dying. I've got a bee in here somewhere and he doesn't want to come out, so I'm just going to have to let him do his thing. So what's flying and what's dying? Well, I need to show you Mo's mystery beans. Oh my gosh. These are flying. I mean, they're just doing amazing. I'm actually thinking I probably need to get them out kind of fairly soon. I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll plant them behind the peas, so going up the same structure. Whether that's even big enough for them, I have no idea, because they were a bit of a mystery. We'll see. But I've got that whole area really needs a good sort out. There's a lot of weeds and all sorts going on there. So yeah, I'll do that later in the week. But look! I also wanted to tell you about some purchases that I made at the weekend. Now, just to put this into context, when I went to the garden centre last week, I bought 8 plants. Most of them were the Nemesia, the vanilla-y ones. So I bought 8 plants and I spent about 28 quid, which I thought actually wasn't bad. And don't get me wrong, they're absolutely lovely plants. And it was gift vouchers. Thank you, Auntie Kath. So it wasn't really like spending real money. But that was about 28 quid. Then at the weekend, I went to a plant sale, which was being held at our local community garden. Welsh Brian was there, of course. And I spent £2 and I got 8 plants. Same number of plants, quite a lot cheaper. So I got a couple of new strawberry plants to fill in a few gaps in the patch in my garden at home. I also got 3 dwarf French beans. Yeah, dwarf French beans. I thought it was 2, but actually there's a third one coming up just there. Free plants. And the chap said that they were a kind of bush variety, so they don't need support. So I'm thinking I might pop them near where the broad beans are. Never tried them before. We're going to give them a whirl. How exciting. So that pot was 50p. I just love it. I just love it. The other thing I got 2 pots of brassicas. Now I got a sort of 2 for 1 deal on these pots. I got both pots for 50p and there's 2 plants in each pot. And I got them cheap, even cheaper, because they'd lost the label and they didn't know what kind of brassicas they are. Well, I'm not a stranger to the mystery brassica, do you know what I mean? And also, as my brassicas, I've struggled with them, I thought, why not get some mystery brassicas and we'll find out what they are. Any brassica experts out there? Would you like to hazard a guess at what these brassicas are going to turn into? Let me know. Right, what else is flying or dying? I know I've shown you my Comfrey before, but it never ceases to amaze me. I've done absolutely nothing to this. I haven't even watered it. It's just grown and I'm starting to get flowers, and I've decided to call it Humphrey. Don't know how original that is. Humphrey the Comfrey. It feels like a Humphrey though. And it's actually getting so large, it's kind of impinging on the flower planters that are behind it. And I want to plant my flowers out today. So I think Humphrey needs a haircut. So I thought this would be a really good time to make some Comfrey feed. Now, I made feed last year with nettles because Humphrey was but a little sproglet then. And that was fine, that was great, but it was a bit of a pain collecting loads of nettles. So I'm really glad I don't have to go too far this year. My buckets that I used to make it last year all blew away in storm burst. So my dad has very kindly given me a couple more with lids. So I'm going to make 1 batch today, and when it's ready, I'm going to decant it into the other bucket and then make a new lot. So I've always got some on the go. I'm going to gather my comfrey leaves from Humphrey, and then I'm going to fill the bucket with water. Do you have to rip the leaves up? Maybe you do. Maybe I don't need scissors. Maybe I can just rip them. Let's try that. Is that enough? It's quite exhausting. How's that, Hump? Does that feel better? You and you, summer do? Right, that's my bucket. I'm going to stick some water in it and wait for it to go really stinky. I don't put the lid on completely because apparently as it kind of brews, you can get a build-up of gases inside and they need to be able to escape. So I just pop the lid on loosely and stick a rock on top to keep it down. I think I'm going to move it actually because it needs to probably be somewhere a bit sunnier. And now we just wait 3 weeks and wait for the stench to overpower us, and then we know it's good and ready for the plants. So this is the exciting bit today. I'm going to plant out my flower planters. Now, last year I just had Cosmos in these and they looked amazing. So I've got Cosmos again. Those are Can't remember what they're called, but they're big and they're kind of frilly. And these are the dwarf ones. I've also got, oh no, where are they? New for this year, I have zinnias. And I'm not entirely sure how big these get. I think I'm going to keep them to kind of round the outside. So I know cosmos get huge. I'll stick those more towards the middle and have zinnias around the outside. I think I got 9 in each planter last year. Not sure if that was too many. I'm going to maybe go for 6 cosmos and 4 zinnias in each. See how it goes. I've also asked my plot neighbour, James, across the way, my new plot neighbour, whether he'd like some of my leftover cosmos and zinnias, because I've got too many really for these planters. And he said yes, so I know the excess are going to go to good homes, which is lovely. Right, I reckon the big frilly ones towards the centre, the dwarf ones around the outside of those, and the zinnias maybe in the corners. Well, that's it from me for today. From Humphrey the Comfrey and from my flower planters. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.